This video is dedicated to Neil Smothers. A big thank you, Neil. Krark the Thumbless versus Azami, Lady of Scrolls, and that is a no-lander, so we definitely have to mulligan there and get into a heap of mana there, so let's... yeah, I think we're okay to keep on that one. And let's get rid of the Blasphemous Act. Our opponent just holding up a blue mana. I think we go Ancient Tomb into Mind Stone. Drew into Jeska's Will, by the way, which ought to be really good against Azami if we can get it through, and they're tapping down mana, so get into another mountain. I think we go for Krark first. Yeah, let's go Krark first here. And hopefully our opponent taps out, because it would be really good to get Jeska's Will against them. And going for Arcane Signet, I would assume. Yeah, they're just holding up counter magic, I would assume there. So let's go for a mountain. And I'm just going to play the anger here, just for the sake of playing something. I'm quite happy for them to counter that. Ultimately, doesn't matter if they counter it, but they decide to leave a counter in hand. If they've got one, we'll whack them for 4. Fact or fiction from our opponent now. You can have a Rhystic Study and an island, I think, or you can have a bunch of mana. They decide to take the Fistful of Mana, and still holding up that 2 blue. So I think we go mountain here, and we can try and get rid of a couple of their things here. So let's go for the Abrade, destroying an artifact. We'll go after the Sapphire Medallion, and this might get bounced back to our hand, of course. And that gets the Disallow out of their hand, that's really good. So now we can attempt the Jeska's Will. Go for Tails, and win the flip on that one. So we get a copy of that. So that means we're going to get a load of cards off the top. And a bunch of mana into play here. And this is playing out exactly like the game that we had of 1v1 against Krark recently. And I have tried to... build this deck around that. It's a similar sort of deck, I hope. We'll go for the Sol Ring. Use one of our 10 mana to do that. And then we'll attempt a Desperate Ritual before we go for the wheel. In my estimation, we can go for this 3 times before we ought to just give up with it. But we win the flip again, so getting lucky with our Krark, we'll get 6 mana from that, which sends us up 4 mana as opposed to the usual 1. And we'll grab ourselves a Wheel of Fortune. And again, we have to do the coin flip. We lose this time. We've still got 12 mana. So we'll try again. And this time we win. We've still got 9 mana floating. We get 2 Wheel of Fortunes. So we will see if we want to do anything at instant speed here. There's a Magma Jet. I don't think we need to bother with that, to be honest. It's a shame to lose all that mana, though. It seems to be mana that... is the only thing we're getting into here, really. Alright, that's a lot better. We can go Krark's Thumb, go Rampaging Ferocidon, because we can go for that Lightning Greaves here as well. And we'll put the Lightning Greaves onto the Ferocidon, and then maybe we just attempt Skullcrack on our opponent, and we can attempt Lightning Bolt on them next turn as well. We win the flip thanks to the Krark's Thumb. 1 came up heads and 1 came up tails. So we'll do the same target, so that is 6 damage on our opponent. With the Skullcrack, then we swing in at our opponent, and that is another 7 points of damage. Then shift the Lightning Greaves over to Krark, and we'll see what our opponent can do to us. They go for Volition Reigns, which means they get to take control of a permanent and untap it. So we'll see what else they want to do here, because we might go for the Lightning Bolt on there. Let's Lightning Bolt our own creature, because we're not going to do anything about an enchantment. And we lost the flip with the Lightning Bolt, so went for tails and it went heads 2 times in a row. Is this to each opponent? Yeah. So let's go for that Lightning Bolt again. Okay, so we chose tails. 1 heads, 1 tails. Choose which one to keep. We'll keep the tails, of course, which means we win the flip. We get 2 lightning bolts here. We'll send 1 in at our opponent. 1 takes the blocker out of the way. And our opponent decides to scoop to that. Fair enough. I would have drawn another card there with the Mind Stone, so that would have taken us into Vandal Blast. I would have been tempted to Vandal Blast them there, because it would have taken them down to 5 mana, maybe 6. And then probably would have just played this, ready to shock them again next turn. We would have dealt 4 damage to them there, so they weren't out of it, but yeah, maybe they would have been in another turn or 2. I think they should have played that out because we weren't really drawing into anything. That is the new Krark deck though. I think that was a fairly fast one, so let's try another one. Try another one now, and it looks like another control deck as you tend to play in 1v1 games. Nicol Bolas, the Ravager. That is a 3-lander. We've got Wheel of Fortune, which we can hopefully get off on our opponent. We might be able to abrade a mana rock of theirs, so yeah, we'll keep that one. We're on the draw again. They get into their blue mana straight away. We've nothing to do on turn 1, so we'll just play the mountain. And just holding up blue mana, so we'll hold up the abrade, I think. Maybe they'll go in for... maybe they'll go in for a rock on turn 3. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to play our commander straight into a counterspell. Yep, there it is. So we'll try and make them counter it on their own turn here. I'm guessing that that's what they drew into this turn, otherwise they would have gone for it before now. They could have gotten down their commander here. And forcing the counterspell out of their hand, that's good. Alright, so that takes us into... I think we maybe just go Krark and then play the Chandra and Flame Slash their commander next turn. Okay, well there's the Ugin instead. So we'll put that in the command zone. And there is a Khan for us. Let's drop another mountain. I think we still want to encourage them to maybe go for their commander, although they might want to go for their commander and hold up counter magic. That might be what the aim is here. So maybe we just go for Chandra. And we'll plus for the mana. Maybe should have plussed and just put up with the fact that we're not going to be able to use the card so that we can get some damage on them there. Anyway, they go for the plus on the Ugin to make a creature. And another Planeswalker. So Lightning Bolt in the Chandra. And they're leaving up a blue mana, notably. Let's go for the Shivan Gorge. Plus for mana with Chandra. Go for the Krark. Now that comes down immediately, so let's go Seething Song. And lose that one, unfortunately, so yeah, probably destined to not do as well on this one. The Lightning Bolt from the Ugin went on to Chandra. And another Spirit being made. We're pretty much losing to the Sol Ring here, so I don't feel too bad about this. There's a Fiery Confluence, and we will certainly return it to the command zone. Another land for us, so let's just... what are we on? 6 mana? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the Seething Song here. Seems like the type of thing that will get counted. Well, maybe not. Let's go Torbrand then. And then we'll go for the Khan, because the Torbrand landed. And we don't control many artifacts, unfortunately, otherwise I would have gone for the creature here. Let's just reveal the top 2 cards of our library. Let our opponent give us one. We revealed a Magmatic Insight. They gave us a land. Don't think I'm really all that bothered about the Magmatic Insight, although we could go for that next turn. Drawing 2 cards. Yeah, I don't know if we'll bother going for that, to be honest. The limit break goes off on Ugin, and they get to keep Ugin in play. That's 7 life, 7 cards, 7 permanents onto the battlefield. So that's pretty much us done here. We'll try and allow our opponent the time to actually win it. Yeah, there we go. A bunch of Planeswalkers. As soon as you see Teferi, it's... yeah, you're in pretty dire straits there. They get a Grave Titan into play as well. Now, Decree of Annihilation, and yeah, that's me done then. They've just left themselves with a bunch of Planeswalkers, so I'm quite comfortable to leave that one and call it a day. Good game to my opponent. I think we'll try again, and we'll see if we can not lose or win, thanks to fast mana. Up against Scion of the Ur Dragon now, and I think we can keep that one. On the play this time round, let's start off with Quest for Pure Flame. And our opponent shocking a landing so that they can go for the Elvish Mystic. So maybe we do want the Pyroclasm in hand here. Yeah, let's go... Could really do with the Ruby Medallion here, but let's go for our commander. Because we want to be able to do Krark's Thumb and Pyretic Ritual in one turn. But we'll see what we draw into during our next turn. A Cabal Ritual from our opponent, that takes them into Necropotence. I mean, you know, we want to deal direct damage to our opponent, so Necropotence could kind of help us out. And they had to shock a landing to do that as well. And we talked it up, there's the Ruby Medallion. So maybe we just go Ruby Medallion, try our luck with this Pyretic Ritual. Go for Tails as ever, and we win the flip that time, so we'll get 6 mana here. So let's just get down the Chandra's Incinerator. Maybe should have waited on that actually, because we could go Impact Resonance here onto the Elvish Mystic. But we can't do that because we haven't dealt any damage yet. Yeah, only the 3rd time playing the deck, so these are the things that we've got to think about. Swing in with the Krark, doubt they'll block with the Elvish Mystic. We will get a counter on the Quest for Pure Flame though. We can remove 4 from this. And yeah, we have to sacrifice it as well. If a source we control would deal damage to a permanent or player this turn, then it's doubled. Okay, what was that one? That was Tribal Flames. X damage to any target, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control, so that was 4. So that went on to our commander. Cracking the Wooded Foothills in for a Shockland tapped, and they are really chewing through their life here, which could be their downfall. Going for 5 into Necropotence. Takes them up to 10 cards. They'll obviously have to discard some here. I think they discard them face up when they get exiled. Yeah, just a bunch of lands there. It's a land for us, so we'll happily play that. Let's swing in at our opponent. And there we go, we deal damage to our opponent. So that will put another counter on the Quest for Pure Flame. Takes them down to 9. I don't know if it's worth going for the Impact Resonance here. Maybe we just go for the Krark. And it's round to their turn again, and there is Scion of the Dragon. We should be able to make use of the Impact Resonance here. No, there's the Jeska's Will again. Do we just be incredibly greedy and go for that? They've got 6 cards in hand. Let's swing in with Chandra's Incinerator. And they allow us to do that, so they go down to 3. Yeah, let's go Jeska's Will here. Noteworthy that we haven't really had time to go for the Krark's Thumb. But we'll try and get that Jeska's Will going again. Really good card. We saw that in the game against our opponent. Lose the flip there, unfortunately. Maybe should have gone for Krark's Thumb. Alright, we've got a couple of chances to go Impact Resonance. So let's go for the Impact Resonance, which will get rid of both creatures. Go for Tails as usual, lose the flip again. So maybe instead of being greedy with the Jeska's Will, we should definitely have gone for the Krark's Thumb. We'll try the Impact Resonance again. And we lose again, yeah. Get the Krark's Thumb out when you've got the chance, that's the moral of this story. So now, what are they going to be able to do with Scion of the Dragon? There's all kinds of combos and stuff you can get going with this. If they get another land into play, they should be able to do something maybe. That's 3 tutors effectively. Okay, that is Cultivator's Caravan, which is just another piece of mana. They could be holding up counter magic maybe. Alright, let's try and bait some counter magic. Should have gone for Krark's Thumb on the previous turn. That comes down okay. I think we have to go Jeska's Will here, don't we? Because Impact Resonance doesn't do anything anymore. And I'm not going to swing this in because they can just make that a big dragon. So let's try the Jeska's Will again. And we lose both flips. Yeah, it's just one of those games maybe. Yeah, let's just allow them to do something during their next turn. Yeah, if they didn't have their commander in play, they'd be pretty screwed here, assuming that the 4 cards in their hand aren't of any use because the Necropotence will only allow them a couple more cards, making Scion of the Ur Dragon a copy of something, maybe a board wiping dragon. Or maybe it's a combo because they're going for something on the stack here. A couple of tutors on the stack. That one is Kyger of the Tide Star. And then they go for Bladewing the Risen, just for the sake of putting them in the graveyard then perhaps. Swinging in at us now. And I've no doubt that they'll go for a tutor in response. Okay, maybe not. Just getting some damage on us. Maybe there's a board wipe here. No, going for the tutor now instead. It is Yosei, the Morning Star. And there we go, there's Victimize. So, Bladewing the Risen, does that bring it onto... Yes, brings it onto the battlefield. So they'll get all three of their dragons here, including the Kyger. Might be able to make use of Impact Resonance here, actually. X damage divided as you choose amongst any number of target creatures where X is the greatest amount of damage dealt by a source to a permanent or player. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be our stuff dealing the damage. Anyhow, Bladewing the Risen comes down. We'll tap down that for mana. Yosei gets to tap some things down as well. We can deal 4 damage to things. Yeah, we're not necessarily worried as long as we can get into burn. Bladewing the Risen brings back their commander. And then we might as well try the Impact Resonance. And that encourages them to go for a tutor in response. And now, there's a World Gorger Dragon. And we get one of each. So, we'll be able to point some more damage at that. So we'll get rid of their commander here. So the World Gorger Dragon that they tutored for goes down. Their commander goes back into the bin. Or into the command zone even. We got into a land, so just playing that out. And we'll have to hope that we don't go down to a bunch of dragons. They've got more than enough mana to go for their commander again. Only 2 cards left in hand. And there we go. 1 mana of any colour held up, so at least they can't go for a tutor. Swinging in at us with the Bladewing. That is going to knock us down to 22. Okay, smash to smithereens. That ought to do it. We've got 5 more attempts after this. Go after the Cultivator's Caravan. And any one of these will deal 3 damage to our opponent. And we lose both flips there. I mean, you never know, we might lose all these. I have seen people get very, very unlucky with Krark, even with his thumb in play. But there we go, winning one of the flips. And as soon as they see that, don't even take the damage, which is very rude. Yeah, I have a feeling that we maybe ought to have won that sooner. Maybe shouldn't have gone for the greedy. I mean, I did say it was greedy at the time, but really like the idea of Jeska's Will with Krark the Thumbless and Krark's Thumb. So probably shouldn't have gone for that previously. Should have just got the Krark's Thumb out and dealt the damage to our opponent. Or was it their commander we wanted to use the Impact Resonance on? I can't remember now. I think it was their Mana Dork and the Scion of the Ur Dragon. Anyway, got there in the end, even if it did take a few too many turns. Be sure to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you did like it. I do keep an eye on the statistics, so if you thumb up the video a lot, then it shows me that you want to see more from this. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.